Morning, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning. If I haven't met you, I'm Kitty Benson. I'm the minister here at Unity. Hi, everybody out there in live stream land or recorded land. Nice to have you joining us today at Unity in Naperville with our beautiful band. Highest Good is here to soften our hearts, open us up to some delicious ideas. And of course, that's one of the first things we love to do. So if you'd like to stand as you sing, you're welcome to do that, or stay seated, up to you.
Good morning, everyone. Let's sing. I am free. I am free to be. To be the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be. Free to be the Christ in expression. Oh, my wisdom lets me know the guidance of my soul. My will sets the way. My heart knows I must take. My heart knows I must take. Expression. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. Yeah, my faith lets me see the Christ I'm free to be. My power chooses thoughts that only raise me up, that only raise me up. I am free. I am free to be Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. And my power to say no releases what must go. My love sets me free to be the good I see. Oh, I am the good I see. Yeah. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I am free. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I try to remember that. No, not try. I do remember that. I do remember that. Do we remember that this morning? I guess we're always free to be whatever we want. We get to choose. But when I think about choosing, I always go back to the truth. I want to choose what is true. I love the words of this song because it's very, very true. Let's sing this together. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. I am not a drop in the ocean. I am all the ocean in a drop. God and I are one. This drop is the ocean. is the ocean.
All right, let's just open up our hearts to that ocean of spirit that's all around us. Take this moment to just know the truth. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever we are, God is. And in God, all is well. Let's just breathe into that ocean of wellness. This is where we put our attention at this moment, in the present, in the presence. And so it is. Amen. And if you'll help me speak our invocation, the words are up here on the screen. Together?
Spirit, we are beautiful here in the light that surrounds us. We are beautiful. Spirit, we are powerful. Spirit, we are powerful, trusting in the mind that guides us. We are powerful, and Spirit, we are bountiful. Spirit, we are bountiful. Thank you for the life that sustains us. We are bountiful. Spirit, we are beautiful. Spirit, we are beautiful. Here in the light that surrounds us, we are beautiful. And Spirit, we are powerful. Spirit, we are powerful, trusting in the mind that guides us. We are powerful, and Spirit, we are bountiful. Spirit, we are bountiful. Thank you for the life that sustains us. We are bountiful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love our music friend Denise. Is she going to be in the area soon? We got to get her over here.
So,
Yeah, up in the mountains. It feels dark up here. Is there overhead lights that we could play with a little bit? Something, anything? I've been taking breaths lately. Let's just take a deep breath. Hold for 2, release for 6. I don't know anything about a vagus nerve. Anybody heard of a vagus nerve? I'm hearing a lot about it lately, but I don't take the time to read about it. All I know is that you breathe in for 4, you hold for 2, you let it out for 6. The last breath out has to be longer than the breath in. Don't know why that helps, but it does. Yeah, it does feel good. Just kind of releases and relaxes all the tension in the body. And it might help for our topic today, because our topic, we're finishing up our series on emotional power. And although we've been talking about the difficult emotions that you guys checked off on your survey, I don't necessarily say that there is power in a difficult emotion as much as there is power if we can land on the right emotion to help transform it. So we're going to talk about that today. Specifically, let me just ask this question. Do you remember when you first learned to worry? How old you were? In school, yeah. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Brenda, for leading right in, because my memory is 4th grade. I switched schools. I was put on a bus, so I left all my classmates behind, and there was one other kid on the bus before me, and then I got on, and then the rest of the class bully. And I got to be someone that he gave a lot of attention to over the next 5 years. So I got to wake up in the morning with that feeling of dread, anxiety, worry. You know, half the time I was sick to my stomach before I ever got to the breakfast table. So that was something that I worried about, because it's no fun to have, I mean, just this is a child who grew up to an adult who recognized he had issues, and he basically apologized to all of us at our reunion. Yeah, so he got it ultimately. But all that to say, it was rough, and I didn't have parents. You know, when you're on a bus, school bus, there's nobody there to protect you. So I learned how to worry in the 4th grade, and then I moved into high school separate from him. And now I had a teacher who said, "I want you on the speech team." And first of all, I had a brother, older brother, who had come and gone on the speech team. So he just kind of honed in on me because of my last name. And I wound up, gosh, the word is competing, on the speech team every Saturday from like October to March. You get up at 5, you get to school, catch a bus, and it takes you somewhere in the state for some type of tournament. And early on, my coach met me at the door of a high school that we were competing at, and he said, "I'm switching your event today. Today you're going to do radio speaking." I had no idea what that was, but the radio speaker had called in sick. And for some reason, he thought, "Kitty, let's put Kitty in there." So long story short, I did that for 4 years. And every Saturday morning, I woke up with diarrhea. It's the kind of thing where most of my fellow classmates on the team got to rehearse their event months in advance and then do the same thing every week. I had to do something new every week. Lucky me. They'd hand you material, you'd put this broadcast together, you'd write commercials, transitions, you had a stopwatch, you had to time if you went before, earlier than this time or later than this time, you were disqualified. And all the while, adults were sitting on the other side of the screen because it was radio broadcasting, they couldn't see you, but they were critiquing you. They were writing down on paper everything that you were doing wrong. Once in a while, they'd say something nice, but yeah, so I continued my worrying process from that point of view for the next 4 years. So I'd pretty well established worry by the time I became an adult. And I think everybody here has probably had an opportunity once or twice in your life to worry, and it doesn't have to be necessarily about school, but these days when you get into adulthood, it's things like, how does your checkbook look? How does your retirement fund look? What is your doctor telling you? How are your kids doing? When you're done with childhood, then you go to your kids, and then you go to your grandkids and find something to worry about, right? So worry was on the survey, and you said many of you chose that in various types. Up here on the screen is a little bit of a spectrum again of the kind of worry that we might talk about today. So it's everything from just a little niggling doubt to concern to anxiety to worry, fear, obsessiveness, compulsiveness, phobia, panic, you name it. And okay, I admit it. I had a happy meal because I didn't want all that food. I just wanted a little food. And in the happy meal, I got this. And they're giving out these squishy toys, which are really kind of a nice worry reliever, you know, one of those squishy toys. But the point was that they were meant to represent people playing in the World Cup. And this particular character's name is Waverly. Waverly plays forward, and Waverly is most likely to, here it is, worry about her shoes hurting the grass. May we all have worries that simple in our life. So who knows what you're worried about, but that's kind of the way it goes for us. And worry can either be a noun or a verb. So typically what we notice first is the feeling of worry. It presents itself somehow in our bodies, and we might try to stuff it or avoid it, but we learn that seems to only make it worse. So then we turn it into a verb and we start worrying the problem. Do you know what I mean by that? You just kind of think about it. Well, interestingly enough, before you get there, you've actually started with a thought. Before you started practicing it consciously, you started it with a thought that you may not have even been aware of, that probably bubbled up from the subconscious somewhere, that then produced the feeling. And what's interesting is about the thought of worry is that it's about something that hasn't even happened yet. That is probably one of the most amazing things about what we do to ourselves over something that hasn't even happened yet. And at this point, we're focused on the future. We can't stop it, we can't control it, but it seems to have control over us. Anybody remember Mark Twain? Anybody old enough to remember Tom Sawyer? Okay, so Mark Twain said this. He said, "I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened." Yeah, so that's kind of how it goes for most of us. But for some reason, we want to justify our worry. Either we've had a previous experience about what's coming up for us, and we know that it can turn out badly, or we've seen other people deal with it, and we know it can turn out badly, or experts are predicting that it could turn out badly, so we have a lot of good reason to worry. No, you don't. I'm just telling you, you don't. We worry usually because we feel like something, and you know what? This kind of ties in with all the emotions we've been talking about, is that our worry ties in with the threat that something that we love we could lose, or something that we don't have and we want we're not going to get, right? Isn't that kind of the basis of a worry? And a lot of it can be around the fact that we don't know what life is going to throw at us. Doesn't even have to be about anything specific. It's just the fact that we're not in control that we can live in an energy of worry. And some of us have a temperament where it's just, you know, the worry kind of bumps in and a heartbeat kind of flips a little bit. But you just kind of notice it and you know, like your Scarlett O'Hara, I'll think about that tomorrow. I'll wait for, you know, that when it shows up, if it ever shows up. Good for you. Hope you can keep up with that. On the other end of the spectrum, some of us respond to worry in such a way that the thought comes in and it gets our attention and we think we need to protect ourselves, and so we think it again, and we think it again, and we think it again, until we've thought it long enough that now it's become a belief. That's when it really starts to do damage in us, is because once you get to the energy of belief, it brings in that associated feeling. So when you have a feeling of worry, just know that you've gotten to the point where somewhere along the line you've created a belief, okay? And that feeling of worry, if you hold on to that long enough, can literally become some type of symptom or illness in the body. I mean, I think a lot of doctors would say not just stress, but worry can cause long-term illness in the body. So Started with the thought about something that hasn't happened, winds up as an illness in the body. Anybody read the Bible? Anybody read the Old Testament and the book of Job? Oh my God, one of the most worrisome books in the Bible. Everything bad happened to Job. And you find out early on, he says this, literally says this, that which I feared has come upon me. So we learn right away that there's something going on here, some kind of spiritual principle that what we hold in consciousness when it comes to worry, but also when it comes to joy, can come upon us. It just kind of seeks out same energy type things. So when we're practicing worry long enough, it might start off, for some of us as a temporary fleeting experience. But when we're one of those people where we hold on to it, it can become a personality trait. And you become known as the worrier. Anybody know any worriers? Yes, yes, yes. It's pretty much, it's kind of the, what do you call it, the set point. So no matter what happens, their first go-to is to worry about it. And sometimes we become a professional at it so that we use our imagination on a regular basis to just pull out the what ifs. What if, our imagination is pretty powerful. And why we choose to use what if for the negative, but we never think to use what if for the positive. Have you noticed that? Oh my gosh. So what if this earache, mild as it is really brain cancer? What if my Social Security check doesn't show up on time and I can't pay my rent this month? What if I flunk this test? If I flunk this test, I could get kicked out of school. If I get kicked out of school, then I can't get a job. If I can't get a job, what if I can't make any money? And what if I can't make any money, then I'm going to wind up with no food, out on the street, homeless, and I'm going to die that way. What if? Come on. We've probably used that, maybe not to that extreme, but you know what I mean, where what if can go. So at this point, it's not the thing that hasn't happened yet that's our worst enemy. It's us. We are our own worst enemy when it comes to worry. And I'm just going to invite you to notice those worries and those what ifs. And when they show up in here, just check how you're feeling in your body, because that feeling in the body is vibrating at a specific frequency called worry that then just sends the signal out into the universe. And physics is telling us this now, something that we've known for centuries in spiritual studies, is that we attract back to us that which we are radiating, being, because of, where did it start? The thought, the what if, the picture in our mind. So at this point, you do a pretty good job of manifesting the thing that you feared. And then you're just so proud to be able to say, and I told you this would happen. I don't think we even want to say that out loud, but I told you this would happen. That which I feared has come upon me. Okay, so that's an option. That's an option, but it doesn't have to be the choice. And I'm going to ask you today to make a different choice and consider, what if we approach, hey, there it is. What if we approached a challenge without worry? Do you think you could do that? This will be especially challenging for those of us who've turned it into a profession. But I'm guessing any of you here, you might find a little challenging, that if something appears to be threatening on the horizon, can we look at that without worry? Now, it's very common for the ego to say, it's my job to worry. That's how I protect myself so nothing bad happens to me. And that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Except that it doesn't, because we then are contributing to it. What if, instead of choosing something to worry about, we choose a what if that can bring us good? And a lot of us don't know at this point. But let me just start with the word faith. What if we chose faith? instead of worry. And then the question is, what do you put your faith in? So one of my favorite scriptures, especially in the last few years, I don't know why, just has really become clear to me. When Jesus talked about this in John, in the world, you face persecution. And if you look at the many translations there are of the scriptures, it says that persecution, sometimes it says suffering. In the world, you face suffering or tribulation or difficulties or trouble, trials, sorrows, or distress, none of which we want, right? In the world, these are the things that happen. There's going to be these things. But he says, take courage. I have conquered the world. I've said this to you so that in me you may have peace. So I always think of this as him laying out the rules of the game. That we don't necessarily hold Jesus as the unique person on the planet expressing his divine nature, but an example for us, a way shower for us, the one that kept saying, follow me and do what I do, that in his life, he was learning and expressing, I am an expression of the divine, and here's an option in this world, how we can do this. So in me, you may have peace. So here he is. He's given us the big picture. Now, the truth is, we all came in as spiritual beings. We talk about that regularly to remind ourselves we're not at the mercy of the body. We're not at the mercy of the ego. We came in as spiritual beings and then cohabitate with this human body. And it's our opportunity to stay awake and remember that. So he's trying to remind you, okay, there's going to be trouble here. So just so you know, here's how this place works that you just landed in. There's going to be trouble, and take courage because I've overcome. If I can overcome, you can overcome because we're all spiritual beings. When he says in this world, that's code for third dimension. In the third dimension, it is really rough. There's a lot of heaviness here. You're going to bump into things a lot. That's just kind of the nature of the planet and the universe that we live in the third dimension. But take courage. In other words, raise your thoughts, lift your thoughts. There's one translation that says take heart. I love that one because it's about getting into your spiritual self. Bring your thoughts up to where you really are as a spiritual being. In me, when we think of Jesus metaphysically in the scriptures, we think of him as the representation of the Christ Spirit, which is God expressing uniquely in you, every person on the planet, filled with that presence of God. So in me, in the Christ mind, in the consciousness of the highest and best, there is peace. In me is the fifth dimension. We talked about that a few weeks ago in another series, so look that up. The fifth dimension is that kingdom of heaven he was always talking about, that in the kingdom of heaven, he talks about it being all around us, and he talks about it being within us. So this is an opportunity when worry threatens on the horizon to go, oh, third dimensional world, who am I? Spirit, Christ within me, Christ mind within me, divine thoughts within me. I'm moving up into this fifth dimension for a minute because we get to do both. It's not only when he was teaching us to pray, we would pray that the expression of God would happen on earth as it is in heaven. If that were not possible, he would not have asked us to do it. It is possible for us to bring to earth the third dimension, the energy, the truth, the power of the fifth dimension. So this is Kitty metaphysically interpreting these words here as he's laying out the rules of the game, so to speak. And when we're in deep worry, I understand how difficult it might be to look at this as a game, but in some ways, it actually might help us. If we can shift to, this is a game, I am of spirit, this thing that appears to be happening or could happen, since we're talking about worry, really has no effect on me, the spiritual being. Okay, and we're going to keep finding out about that the longer that we work this. So take courage, be inspired, lift your heart, focus on the kingdom, focus on the presence of peace within me, and recognize we're not going to control a single circumstance in our life by worrying about it. That's why he said in Matthew 6, he said, don't worry about your life. You can't add a single hour to your life by worrying. So I was reading through this booklet from Unity. They send out a lot of booklets like this, and this one is on their website, unity.org. That's pretty easy to remember. Just look up booklets or look up the name of this booklet, which is Spiritual Keys to Overcoming Adversity. And there's a story in here about overcoming worry by Michael Jameson and his wife. And they start by saying that Michael wrote this. So Michael and his wife came home from work, and there was a message on their answering machine back in the day when there were answering machines. It was from a hospital in a town where their son was going to college. And the message said that their son had been in a motorcycle accident. He was unconscious, and the doctor would get back in about an hour when they knew whether there was brain damage or not. And so the Jamesons did not pick up the phone and call the hospital. They did not pick up the phone and try and track down the doctor. They did not call to make flight arrangements to go to the hospital. They called Silent Unity. They were both prayer associates at Silent Unity. And Silent Unity is the ministry that's been praying for you and your prayer requests 24/7 for 125 years. Never stops. Well, they worked there. They were some of the people who answered your call and prayed for you. And so they called in and they asked the person who answered to pray with them for divine order. And then they hung up the phone and they just continued together in prayer. Now, one of the things he talked about is that they dismissed those words brain damage when they were in prayer, and they shifted to right outworking. Everything's going to work out right. Okay? So let me finish the story here from Overcoming Worry in this booklet. Michael Jameson, he said, "We knew that neither dread nor worry is appropriate in any situation. What we dwell on moves us in that very direction." Wow. Whether our thoughts are positive or negative, every thought is a prayer. It took longer than an hour for the second call from the doctor, and when the phone rang, we turned to look at each other with eyes of assurance and peace. That's unusual. The doctor reported that David had regained consciousness, the concussion was mild, and recovery would be swift. Did our affirmative prayers create a miracle healing? No. Spiritual law says that the moment there's a disruption in the physical and mental functioning of a person, natural healing energy immediately activates throughout the body. Thus, the factors available and necessary for our son's healing came together spontaneously when the accident occurred. FYI, we're going to talk more about that spiritual law at our healing service on Tuesday night on Zoom. So just look that up on our calendar. What our affirmative prayer work did was to keep worry from interfering with our desire to be helpful. We knew David already had within him all it would take to restore and mend his body. There are so many things I could say at this point about, is that true? So come to Tuesday. The way to overcome worry is to focus on the divine wisdom, healing, and love that prevails everywhere, all the time. It takes a persistent resolve to do this in hard times. Therefore, practicing such focus is important even when times are easy. If we do that, we're already prayed up to handle whatever comes along, no matter how intense, with ease and grace, and not to worry. With confidence, we allow divine order, not human worry, to be our strength and guide. Whoops. So I want to kind of unpack that a little bit because there's some really good things in here. First of all, they said early on, thoughts move circumstance in the same direction as the thoughts themselves. Okay? Well, we talk about that here in Unity all the time. We learned that from Jesus when he said over and over in a million different ways, let it be done to you as you believe. Let it be done to you as you believe. That sounds like thought to me, right? Okay, so we have 5 principles in Unity. Our third principle is along these lines. We create life experience through thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. And we have a little saying that helps us remember this. Thoughts held in mind produce in kind. Okay, so first of all, we pay attention to how the universe is working. 3D and 5D are working together. The divine laws are working with the physical laws so that we're creating our life experience. And so one of the first things they chose to do with their thoughts was move them from brain damage to right out working. So it's good to know some of these right out working words, and we'll talk more about that here in a minute. If we feel that the situation we're focused on is threatening, and it just means our brain and ego is now trying to take over, how many have noticed that when your brain or ego takes over in a threatening situation, things get messy? We don't think very clearly, do we? As a matter of fact, what's most common is what comes up out of the subconscious that we've stored up all of our life in situations like this, which are usually not very helpful. So, what if, when we catch this moment of worry trying to take over, that we remember I'm a spiritual being? What do I know about my spirit? Well, first of all, there's various powers that we associate with our spirit. And one of those powers is our ability to override the ego's habitual thinking and to choose consciously thoughts based in spiritual truth. That's the power in that power, is deliberately directing our thoughts in the direction of whatever spirit can be in the middle of this situation. And so, isn't it nice to know I am not at the mercy of the unknown or what my brain can imagine, but instead, I can consciously choose. Now, this is why we do what we do at Unity, which is called affirmative prayer. It's affirmative because we're not asking for something to be changed. We're affirming what is already true about God in this situation. We're affirming what God has already given of itself. And the reason that we want to do this, especially like in advance and not when we're in the midst of a problem, is so that we can be ready to not only stay centered in our good when something comes up, but we can also be centered for other people. We can be helpful to other people, which is what this couple was talking about. How many of you been around somebody where they're in a state of fear, worry, anxiety? They talk about it regularly, and just being near them kind of puts you in it? Yeah? So fear is contagious, and so is spiritual truth, and it has even more power. So what you want to be is the centered person who can stay in peace, who can put their attention on the presence of love, who can turn towards that divine wisdom within us, because we have to open the door. We have to be the door that opens to allow those things through. God can only do for us what God can do through us. Ringing any bells? So, good news that divine wisdom and love and peace and life are always present. And as this couple experienced for themselves, it takes persistent resolve to do this in hard times. So we're talking about practicing. Practicing makes perfect. Practice when it's easy. Elevate your vibration and consciousness. And guess what? That helps you right there if you're regularly focused on the truth of God in your life. You are in trouble and in worry much less often. Do you see how that works? You're working at a different level of consciousness, so you're not susceptible to things that might worry you. When we move into worry regularly, it just means we're living at a level of energy that is aligned with a worry frequency. And you know what that is because you feel it in your gut or you feel it in your heart or wherever you feel it. So I came across this statement from Wayne Dyer this week and I went, whoa, who here is going to be able to take this in? I'm just going to throw it out here and see if it's you. Would you ever fear if you knew without doubt that God was your real self? I will say it again. Would you ever fear if you knew without doubt that God was your real self? What is there to fear, right? What is there to fear? And there's so much more I could say about that we could take days to answer. But I just want to, do I want to ask this? Okay, just real quick. We'll just see if one or two of you have something to say here. Why why does the ego push back against that? Who are we to think that we are God? Okay, so I'm just going to lean in for this one because this is where people either like totally marry with the unity principles or where they just go run screaming in the night. So here it is. Really, our foundational principle, number one, is what we say here every week. There's only one presence. There's only one power. There's only one. There's only one. So if you're here and there's only one, and that one is the omnipresence, the omnipotence, the omniscience, what does that say? Take a breath. All right. So the good news in this context is that if you know that your true self is an eternal, infinite spiritual being, that there will come a moment when you leave this body and you remember that, and you realize that everything that your soul experienced here never really harmed you, it just grew you. It just evolved your spirit so that now you know more deeply what love really is, what wisdom can really be, what joy can really be, because you got into this game with blinders on, thinking you're only human, and then there's gonna be trouble in this world. But here's Jesus saying, take heart, take courage. In me, in your Christ consciousness, in the God mind that's within you, that is you, that's where your salvation lies, okay? How you doing? All right, so we worry in this life because our ego is worrying. Whenever there's worry in you, just know that's my ego. Your spirit will never, ever, 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 ever worry. Never. So if you've got worry going on in you, that's my ego. And guess what? I am not my ego. Ho, I am not my, I hear you. I am not my ego. Unless, well, not even unless, but we can think we are. And that's when we just live in worry town and make it a profession. So there's going to be both. Remember, in this world and in me, in this world and in me. So in this world, there's going to be sickness. In the body, there's going to be sickness. And at the same time, the real self is always whole and complete. And in this world, there's going to appear to be lack. Your finances may appear to be limited. But at the same time, your real self is one with this infinite realm of supply, God's divine substance everywhere present. In this world, there's going to be conflict. It's going to feel threatening. And at the same time, your real self and that other real self is one self in unity and harmony. Yikes. So in this world, a situation is going to appear in front of you that may appear to be unsolvable. Yeah, unsolvable, when all the while your real self is divine intelligence that sees right through that and knows exactly what's needed in the moment and is available to you. So when I kind of zinged past these two scriptures, but let me go back to them now. Sorry about that, Christina. From Philippians 2:5, let the same mind be in you that was in Christ Jesus. The same mind that rose the body from the dead and rose other bodies from the dead. The same mind that could heal anything, that could walk on water, believe it or not. I don't really care whether you believe it or not. I'm just saying it can be done. That's my belief. That kind of thing can be done because we're also spiritual beings. So let that same mind be in you. Let the Christ mind, the God mind be awake in you. It already always is. It's just, can you be awake to it? And then what he said, Paul wrote to Timothy, God did not give us a spirit of fear, but rather a spirit of power and of love and of self-discipline. So that power that we've been given is a spiritual ability to choose spiritual thoughts. And that love that we've been given is our ability to choose for good for everyone in the situation. That self-discipline that we've given is our ability to use our power of will and strength to keep choosing for spirit, not for human. Okay? So if this is any kind of challenge for you, if you're still experiencing worry in your life, which trust me, I know what it feels like. I get thee to a gym, a spiritual gym. And at the spiritual gym, I lift weights. I lift ideas of weight that matter, that have power, that can transform the ego and the subconscious till we get to the point where we know I'm whole and complete life up here on the screen. I have infinite substance and unlimited supply available to me, that I'm in unity, that I'm in harmony, that I'm in oneness, that I have the divine intelligence, the wisdom, the understanding, that I am power and I am love and I am self-discipline. These are ideas of weight that matter and that actually are the foundation of your very essence. That's who you are. That's what you are. Okay? So when worry comes, it's just the game and how it's meant to play out. And it does have a benefit. And the benefit is it's teaching your spirit about what it feels like not to be love or not to be life. But it's not changing your spirit. Your spirit is still all that. And when your spirit is all that, that list that we just went through, and you know it, now you've got an effect. You have an effect on what's happening in the outer. Like this couple was praying for their son. We cannot override the son's free will. If the son said, hey, now's my date to leave, nothing that they could have done could have kept him from that. But in this case, his spirit probably appreciated some support when they stood in light for him without worry. And that's the kind of effect that you can have in your own life and in others. And if you want to come and be light for others that are going through a healing issue, join us Tuesday night online in the Zoom room. Look at the website calendar for the link. There's nothing to be afraid of in God's world. Nothing to be afraid of in God's world. And so let me just remind you of what it says in the book of 1 John. Perfect love casts out fear. Can't think of anything else? Remember, perfect love will cast out fear. Hopefully all of you know how to get to love at some point in your consciousness, in your heart. We're finishing up the series today, and I've invited Dr. John Turner, who was going to be traveling today. He did a video for us to start us off towards our meditation. So let's take a look first at this practice that he suggests. And he's going to work with joy, where we feel a lack of joy in our lives, might be a depression, but it could also be worry. That's another word for lack of joy. And then he's going to guide us into how to move into joy. So let's just take a look at this. And as he starts to speak, you may even want to close your eyes. He'll guide you.
Good morning, Unity family. Kitty's asked me to help explain how I help patients work through emotional blocks. Easy techniques that can be used by anyone. First of all, realize that emotions are energy in motion. And when that energy gets blocked, the organ system that energy is related to does not detoxify. And that can lead to dis-ease. So what we want to do is get the energy moving. And one way that we do that is a simple visualization technique. First, I want to show you this, and you can all take a picture of it if you like. It tells you what emotions are related to what organ systems. For example, if you have some unresolved grief, you're going to have some lung issues. If you have some unresolved anger, then you're going to have some liver issues. So what we like to do is a simple technique where we get the energy moving. Again, emotion, energy in motion. When it's stuck, we got to ungunk it. So the way we do that is a visualization technique that I use, focusing on a word associated with the emotion. If you look at the heart, let's say, lack of joy. Think of a situation where you had a lack of joy. And then place your hand on your heart, your other hand on your forehead. Close your eyes. Think of a balloon. That balloon has written on it, lack of joy. Take a deep breath. As you breathe in, focus on that emotion. And then as you breathe out, fill that balloon up with all the energy of that emotion. And then take another deep breath and exhale into the balloon. Each time you visualize the balloon getting bigger and bigger. One last time, deep breath in, blow into the balloon. It gets as big as it can get. The words lack of joy are emblazoned on the outside of the balloon. And the balloon can be any color you want, any shape you want. Tie it off and let it go. And then watch it go higher and higher into the sky. It gets so high that you can no longer read what's on the balloon, and eventually it disappears completely. Now, because we're working with the heart, keep your eyes closed, bring light in from the top of your head, have it focused on your chest, around your heart space. Take a breath in, fill your heart with joy. Take a breath in, have that joy spread through every cell in your body. Then take one last deep breath and relax. Simple technique, works every time. Thanks, Kitty.
And filled with joy. As you continue to breathe, you continue to see yourself expanding with joy. We feel lighter, both physically and emotionally. And each time a thought might come in to say, where do I get this joy? Or what if this thing gets in the way of my joy? We just come back to breathing in joy. Feeling our balloon fill up. Our heart is filled with light, and it's getting brighter with joy. And with this presence always within us, and with our awareness of this presence always with us, we will always have joy available to us. Breathe in joy. See that light expand through your heart, through your body. I'm going to ask you to just hum this note, Mark, if you want to stay near this chord. Let this joy be a vibration in your lungs. Feel it expanding in vibration through your chest. Open your mouth and say, ah. Breathe in again and allow that vibration to expand out into every cell, down to your toes, up to the roots of your hair, out to the tip of your hair. This vibration of joy. We allow that energy to soothe us and comfort us, to lift us, to guide us, to strengthen our faith, to point us in the direction of all things possible in the midst of this one presence and one power that is all that is. The good of God that is constantly giving, that we are constantly in the center of, that is constantly being the good in our lives. And so we allow it to be. And so it is. Amen. Rumor has it that when you're humming, especially in the lower range, sorry if I was too low for some of you, but that lower range in your chest areas has the strength to really vibrate where you can feel it. And that's just another quick application for when you get into worry. You know, wake up in the middle of the night and go into a panic attack, switch over to the humming until you can feel it going through your body. Thanks for playing with me, and thanks for sharing your survey answers that helped guide this. So in case you missed any of them over the last 4 weeks, they're on our YouTube channel. You can watch Unity in Naperville's channel to see the recordings of any of our messages from way back when. So I hope you do that if you want to be reminded of how we do this. All right, thank you for that. And I'm going to invite you into a time in our service where we share tithes and love offerings, which is another way that we share energy, positive, loving, healing energy is through our gifts that allow what you're experiencing here now to continue on. So thank you for supporting it. And for those of you watching online, we depend on you as well. So if you'd like to give on our website, it's at unityinnaperville.org, or you can go to, if you like to mail a check, you can go to our P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, and it's 60567. So thank you for that. I'm going to ask our ushers to come forward while we sing. Thank you.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So here's our blessing up here on the screen. If you just want to allow that to be an energy for you, let's say these words together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Steve, are you up?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Morning. Those of you that don't know me, you know, one thing that Kitty has helped me to realize over the years that to see God in everything and everyone, we must first see it in ourselves. Then we'll see it everywhere else. So I'm here to do the announcements today. If you're joining us for the first time online or here in person, welcome. If you've been traveling and you're back, welcome. We see your light. So if you're joining us here for the first time, there's an orange registration card out on the front desk. We encourage you to fill that out and leave it there at the desk or give it to someone. And we'll notify you on Tuesdays of all the upcoming events. So I've got a list. Okay. Oh, there is the healing service up there. I don't have it on the list. So backroom discussion for our online viewers is today after the service at 12:15. Newcomers can, with Reverend Kitty. Check the event calendar for the link to the Zoom. Monday Morning Metaphysics meets tomorrow at 10:30 on Zoom. They're reading The Science of Successful Living by Raymond Charles Barker. And you can join anytime. They read that day and then discuss it. So you don't have to have read the whole book. Men's Unity Group meets tomorrow night here and online at 6:30. Please join us. Join Reverend Kitty for a healing prayer service this Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Check the event calendar at unityinnaperville.org. On the calendar, there's a link for that. If you need prayer but can't attend, please email your request to prayer@unityinnaperville.org. And I'd just like to say the prayer chaplains and I discussed that we have a prayer box and where you can leave a prayer request. You can give a prayer request for the healing event. We would ask if you're asking us to pray for someone else, please leave their name. It can just be their first name, but it helps us to connect with them. Thank you. Join Reverend Kitty next Sunday for continental breakfast during the service. If you can help bring food, sign up in the cafe or email admin@unityinnaperville.org. The Unity Women's Group, Sisters in Spirit, they have their book club and it meets next Monday, July 20th at 6:30 at Unity or online. They are reading Theo of Golden by Ellen Levy. For details or special instructions on all of our events, please read the events calendar at unityinnaperville.org or see the e-news on Tuesdays. Carol is our prayer chaplain today, and she will be available to pray with you in the prayer room, which is just outside those doors on the right. Or you can email your name and phone to prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and a prayer chaplain will call you by 1 p.m. today. And now Melinda has a special announcement about the Clean Team. You're welcome. I'll hold it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I can hold your broom.
Okay, Clean Team members, please stand up. We have Danny and Brenda and Julie and Kelly. And we are getting a little worn thin. We're doing this every 5 weeks, and the more the merrier. And I want to share a little story from Haley, who used to, during COVID, she cleaned. We paid her to clean. She couldn't do it anymore, so we reinstituted the Clean Team. And what Haley told me is, I get such joy cleaning this space. She absorbs the energy, and we can all do that. It's a great way to give back to Unity, and it doesn't cost you anything except maybe an hour or so of your time. So please step forward to the Clean Team. And there's an extensive interview. It says, will you commit? There you go.
The sign-up sheet is out front on the in the cafe, along with all the other sign-up sheets. So thank you for that.
I
Okay.
invite you to stand as you're able for the closing song.
So you know how this goes. I'll add a different word in that blank line every time. And I invite you to embody as we sing. Feel it in your bones. Declare it. I've got the mind of God
Yes, we do, if we will just see it, okay? Join me in seeing it this week. So let me just kind of prep you for next week. We'll be sitting at tables. There will be food. And as we asked earlier, if you can please provide some kind of continental breakfast food, whatever that is, you decide, so that we can feed the whole family, that would be fabulous. Thank you for that. The men's group is coming in tomorrow, and they've been kind enough to set up the tables for us in advance, so thank you for that. And part of the deal is we're going to be talking about that there's hope in the world, and let's talk about ways that we have seen the human consciousness evolve throughout our life, okay? So I still need some volunteers for that. I have plenty to talk about, but I also want to hear from you, and then we'll also have some table talk, so you'll have a chance to get to know each other around your table. And this takes the place of food for thought next week. So food during the service, talk during the service. I'll be talking. We'll still have band music. We're going to have fun songs next week. So please plan on joining us. We'd love to have you here, okay? Here's our closing affirmation for today. Just, do you see what's on that tree that look like leaves, but they're really hearts? Yes. So just imagine everywhere you go today that's what you see. In place of the physical, third-dimensional world, there is also love, 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 love everywhere you look, everywhere you are. So let's know this together. In God's loving universe, there is nothing to fear. So take that out with you. Have a beautiful week, you guys. Have a great time. I want to see you somewhere this week. Hope to see you. Thanks.
To be the Christ in expression. I am free to be the Christ in expression. My wisdom lets me know the guidance of my soul. My will sets me free. My heart knows I must take. My heart knows I must take. Oh, I am free. Christ in expression. I am free to be the Christ in expression. Well, my faith lets me see the Christ I'm free to be. My power chooses thoughts that only raise me up, yeah. I am free. In expression, I am free to be the Christ in expression. And my power to say no releases what must go. My love sets me free to be the good I see. Oh, I am the good I see, yeah. I am free to be the Christ in expression. I am free to be the Christ in expression.